maybe they were right all along. So it is 2023. It's probably about the middle of the year, and I'm sitting in an English class, and basically at the start of every English class we'd have to get a book, either our own book or from like the school like library trolley, which just had a bunch of like random torn apart books on it. And so we'd have to get a book and we would sit there and silently read for 10 minutes. Now this used to be funny because it would never be silent, so the teacher would just start the timer again and again. So it would normally be like 20 minutes. But we're doing this silent reading, and we're now 10-15 minutes into class, and all of a sudden one of the guys, I was sitting in the back row of class, so I was sitting like towards the end of the back row of class, and then there's this group of boys who weren't particularly fond of me sitting in the row in front of me. And so all of a sudden one of them turns around and just starts looking around, and then he spots the book that I'm reading. And I'll actually quickly get the book I was reading. And so you may recognise this book, but this is what I was reading. Absolutely banging book, by the way. Highly recommend. I'm reading Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. This is me, a 13-year-old little skinny kid sitting in English class reading this book. And so this was a risk. Reading a book like this in class it's a risk. Because as soon as this one guy turned around and saw the book that I was reading, I'm sitting there reading this book, and I was this like little twitchy, anxious 13-year-old. So I see like he moves, and I sort of notice it. He looks around, he sees my book, and then he sort of taps the next guy. He's like, "Yo, look what he's reading." And after about 20 seconds, there's like 5 guys in front of me turn around and look at me like, "What are you reading?" Blah blah blah, making jokes about it. And so we go back to reading, and then about 2 or 3 minutes later, the 10 minutes is up. We stop reading. Everyone gets up to put their books back on the trolley or in their bag, and then we get the worksheets and whatever it was. And then, as I'm getting a worksheet, I turn around and I grab the worksheet off the teacher's desk. I turn around and I see one of the guys picked up my book. And I was like, "Oh, you're reading this? You think you're tough? Blah 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 blah." All this just yapping shit at me. And then I'm like, "Yo, can you put it back on my desk?" And they're like, "Nah, bro." And they take the book and they just start throwing it around to each other. And so now my book, which you can still sort of see, like it's not really too bad, but they start like banging the corners of it and like just throwing it around and shit. And so I'm like, seriously. After a few minutes I got the book back and got it back on my desk. But that sort of experience did a few things for me. Number one, it taught me that if you want to try, like, even just this, I didn't do anything. I was just reading a book. Right? I'm just sitting in class, quietly reading this book. And because I had the audacity to read a book that's going to actually help my life, rather than reading some, random fictional story about a witch, whatever, doesn't matter. It's just random books, right? But because I took my own book and it was a David Goggins book, they all decided to, take the piss, right? They all decided to, run their mouth and say dumb shit. And so because I was reading this book, that happened. And so it taught me a few things, but the biggest thing I got from that day was the things they were saying to me. Now, I'm not going to sit here and be like, "Oh, they ruined my life, I'm so sad," because that's not what happened. But the things they said, right, because obviously David Goggins, he was, a lot of young guys know who David Goggins is. This was probably 2 years ago. And so I'm reading this book, and David Goggins, blah, 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 and they start saying all these things, "Oh, you think you're tough, you're disciplined, blah, 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 blah." All these different things that, to this day, I can still sit down and go, what if they were right? Like, if I'm being lazy, if I'm being, not doing what I need to do, I can be like, what if they're right? What if I am lazy? What if I am just a faker? What if I am just like a kid who thinks he's strong, right? Like, what if they were right? What if I am annoying? What if I am, slow? What if I am, whatever it was, like, what if that's true? What if I'm never going to achieve anything? What if it's all stupid? What if I need to get a job or something? Like all the things that they said to me, all the names they called me, I was just like, what if they're right? And so, because I've sort of gone past all of this, when I think of this, it's not like, life's sad, I'm miserable, I'm depressed. It's just like, let's prove them wrong. Let's prove them wrong. And so, literally this morning, I was standing in the kitchen, and I listened to this podcast, and I was just thinking about different stuff, and I saw on Instagram this video of this guy who was from my old school, and I just sort of thought about this experience, like the David Goggins book. I'm like, yeah, that's funny. I'm like, what if they're right? And so I just did 20 push-ups. I'm like, what else am I gonna do? And so I just think to that, where it's like, what if they were right? What if that time when, you know, they you were talking about the gym, or they saw you in the gym, and, you know, the next day they start making jokes about, oh, you're in the gym, think you're there, blah, blah, blah. Right, they ask you, oh yeah, do you go to the gym much? And you're like, yeah, I've been like 3 or 4 times this week. Oh, yeah, you think this is it. Even the guys that would go to the gym, and they'd still call you names. It's like, and what now? And so the only thing you can do is you can either there's 3 options. You can either get upset about it and cry about it, which is not a good idea, because you'll not gain anything from that. Number 2, you can just ignore them, which is a bit better, but at the same time, if you just ignore them, it doesn't really do anything. But the best thing you can do is to just take and go, what if they're right, and to prove them wrong, just do some push-ups. Right? Success is the greatest revenge. You don't have to, you know, have that I told you so moment, but just using it to your advantage is really the only productive thing you can do. And so now I sit back and look at all the things that people said to me, all of the negative insults they gave me, all the times that I got, whatever it was, like all the negative things that happened to me. I'm just like, thank you. I'm so grateful that happened, because now I can sit back and be like, what if they were right? Let's prove them wrong. And then I have endless amounts of motivation. I made a video a few weeks ago saying I can get motivation from anywhere. I can just engineer some motivation at any time. Because of these experiences that I've had, I could sit here and go, oh, life's so bad, blah, blah. But I'm like, let's go. Screw them, let's do some push-ups. Right? I remember when I was about the same time, maybe a few months later, this was, I think, November, like the beginning of November. I was sitting in the exact same class, actually. It was my English class, same class. And all of a sudden, I hear something that sounds quite familiar. And so I look over and I see the same guys in the same spot, sitting on the laptops watching a YouTube video that just so happened to be my YouTube video. They just so happened to be like one of the first ever videos I ever posted. These videos were horrendous, and so it was so embarrassing. I'm like, holy shit, I'm done. And so after having posted like 3 or 4 videos, it became sort of this laughing, running joke. And so eventually, after I posted I think 5 or 6 videos, I deleted them all, which I don't think I should have done. I should have put them on private or just left them there and like, yeah, it is what it is, that's what I'm doing. But I deleted those videos, and that same thing, right? I was trying to post YouTube videos, I was showing up consistently, I was posting, you know, twice a week for weeks in a row, and so it became this running joke, this laughing stock. And now I can be like, yeah, I want to make my videos better, so when people watch them, they don't have to cringe over them, right? My videos, for the longest time, even to this day, my videos, a lot of them still suck. The editing's not the best, whatever it is. The editing's not the best, the pacing's not the best, the stories need to get better. But all of that, I can use that to my advantage and go, okay, well, they were laughing at this. And I could sit there and go, well, you know, they just didn't like me and blah, blah, blah. And you're right, they didn't really like me, did they? But I can go, okay, what do they have against me? All right, well, the video that they were watching, was it cringy? Well, yeah, it was. It was this kid just talking about absolutely nothing. Okay, well, if I'm going to make a video, I need to have substance in the video. Okay, what else did they have? Well, you know, the composition was terrible. It was just me walking around my paddock, talking to my phone. All right, well, I need to have the background and the composition better. I can use this to my advantage. Every single thing that happens to you in your life can be used either to detriment you or to your advantage. Even if it does detriment you, you can still use it to your advantage. So, next time something bad happens to you, use it to your advantage. The people that doubted you, the people that hated on you, the people that beat your ass, whatever it is, use it to your advantage. Take the lesson from it, learn, study, figure out, okay, they were watching the videos, playing them in class, laughing at me. How do I use that to become better? Well, I do this and this, and I cut out this and I make them better. Okay, what do I need to do to become better? Use it to your advantage, because there is a lesson in everything, but it's not going to, the lesson isn't just come to you. The universe, God, isn't going to just teach you. God's not going to just go, oh, this is how the world works. This is what you have to do. No, He's going to teach you. He's not going to tell you, right? He's going to teach you. He's going to go, okay, you need to go through this. And so if you're going to go through that thing, you might as well learn from it. So take advantage of everything that happens to you. That way you'll have a better life. If you can think back to the things that have happened, whether it be yesterday or 10 years ago, and you can just laugh and go, I'm glad that happened, because now I know this, right? If you can do that, if you can get to a place where the things that happened to you, you can go, well, maybe you're not like that. Maybe like, I wish that never happened. But at least I learned this, or at least I know this, or at least I can do this. Take advantage of your situation. Have an amazing day. If you're interested in seeing more videos like this and joining a community of young men aged 13 plus, I keep saying 13 to 21, but I'm sure there's lots of guys who are in their 20s or 30s or 40s or 50s who I could help as well. If you're a young guy or a guy, if you're anyone who wants to improve their life, who wants to learn, go on a self-improvement journey, become a better version of themselves, level up, improve their routine, improve their mindset, improve their habits. Go check out the link in my channel description. That'll take you to my paid school community. Have an amazing day. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.